And today I'm going to go over LeaseStar with you guys. So if you haven't dealt with LeaseStar before or you haven't had a brief introduction with it, then you are in the right place. Today's webinar is going to go over a lot of information as far as, what's in LeaseStar, what we use it for, and then we're going to kind of branch out from there and go straight into Craigslist posting, and the Mission Rock kind of standards that go with that. So it's going to be a lot today. If you get confused by anything or you need help with anything or I go over something way too quickly, feel free to put in a help desk ticket for the marketing and training department, and I would be more than happy to hop on the phone with you, go over it again, just so that you get a really good understanding of what this tool does and what it's capable of. The idea behind LeaseStar is, number one, we want to use it to make your life so much easier. Instead of you having to constantly create Craigslist ads and go in and update all of your online advertising, LeaseStar is going to do all of that for you. The best way to kind of think of LeaseStar is to think of it in two parts, and those are the two main parts that we use it for. A good way to remember that is you'll see, so when you log into LeaseStar, you're automatically going to be kicked to the marketing dashboard, which is this page right here, and you'll see that there's only two facets of LeaseStar that are highlighted. That's because those are the only two facets of LeaseStar that we use. The first facet is the classified performance tool, which for us means the Craigslist posting tool. The syndication facet of LeaseStar is what we use as far as pushing information out to all of our online advertising sources. So we'll go over both of these individually. The classified is going to take a little bit longer just because that's going to involve all of our Craigslist training as well. But I want you to have a good working knowledge of what LeaseStar does, how we use it, and where all the information is located within LeaseStar. If you can kind of get those details worked out, it makes everything in LeaseStar a lot simpler. So I mentioned before, when you log into LeaseStar, you're going to go to your marketing dashboard. The website that you're going to go to is actually mc.myleasestar.com. That will take you to your login page. Just use your login that you were provided at transition or when you first started, or if you're not sure of your login and you need help, again, that's an excellent help desk ticket to put in. Somebody in the marketing department can help you out with your LeaseStar login. So once you are logged into LeaseStar and you get to the marketing dashboard, you'll see the different graphs, and down at the bottom you'll have all of these quick links. Really, the marketing dashboard is just a quick snapshot of what your LeaseStar account looks like. It gives you an idea of the information that's in there. The ready to post, it's never really going to be active. It's going to say there's no recent postings. That's just because we use a different tracking system. The active specials, this is going to show you what specials you're advertising right now. And then active rents kind of gives you an idea of the rents that you're advertising, again, on all of your online advertising as well as in your Craigslist ads. Beyond that, and really what I want you to look at when you first get into LeaseStar is going to be this section right here, your property profile score. So you'll see it's got this little speedometer looking thing, and then it gives you a score. This score is out of 100, so for our purposes, I'm using Broadmoor Ridge as an example. They have a 90 out of 100, and that is a fantastic score. The last 10 points that you get are for having an online video, and we don't have that for most of our properties. So if you have a 90 out of 100, just consider that a perfect score. Mission Rock standards is that we want you to be at least an 85. What that means is, and what this score is a representation of, is kind of your account overall, the amount of information, the quality of information that's held within your account. The reason that it's so important that you have a high property profile score is because the lower the score you have, the more information that you're missing and the more empty spaces there are in your online advertising. A lot of these online advertisers, apartments.com, Apartment Guide, Apartments, etc., For Rent, if you're on any of those, they have set templates that they use to advertise your property. if the information cannot be found within LeaseStar, they don't just take that section away. They leave that section there, and then there's just a big blank spot. So if you don't have your office hours loaded into LeaseStar, when you go on apartments.com, it's going to say office hours and have a big blank area underneath that. Not only does that not look good, it looks like you didn't go in and fill out the information, but it's also harder for the prospect to find out what your office hours are, because now they have to leave apartments.com, try and find your website, find the hours within your website, and then they can figure out if they can make it. A lot of times with prospects, that's too many steps. They want the information and they want it immediately. So the higher the property score you have, the more information you're including on all of those websites. If you get in here and your property score is a 75 and you want to figure out how you can get those points to get you up to that 85 or 90, all you have to do is come down here and click Improve My Score. It's going to open up a new window, and you'll see this is where all of the points that are possible come from. So, and disclaimer here, this is not the points that you're currently getting. These are all of the points possible. So my recommendation to you is going to be to print this page and then go through your property profile and figure out how many points you're actually getting in each section. What that's going to do is it's going to allow you to see the sections that are maybe lacking in points, or where it's not filled out properly, or it's not, there's nothing there, so you're missing out on points there. If you go through this, you print this off, you go through your property profile, and you still cannot figure out where those missing points are coming from, go ahead and put in a help desk ticket. I'd be more than happy to go over this with you and see if maybe I can find where you're missing points at. So the big ones here, I will say, with a lot of our properties, where if you are missing points, a lot of those are going to come from your floor plan diagram and your floor plan photos. Those are somewhere separate from the community photos, and a lot of people forget to look for those. When we go through the property profile, I'll go over in more detail, but you can see here, just from the floor plan photos and floor plan diagrams, there's a potential for 25 points. So a lot of the teams that are missing points, it's coming from these two sections or from the property photos, and we'll go over all of that in more detail when we get to that section. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and we'll go ahead and head up to that section right now. So it says it's labeled property profile, so naturally where you're going to want to go to is going to be your property profile. If ever you're talking to me or another member of the marketing department, a lot of times we're going to refer to these as tiles. So if I tell you to go to the property profile tile, or I tell you to go to the post to classifieds tile, I'm talking about these little buttons at the top of the page. So we're going to go to the property profile tile, and you'll see this is going to take you to all of the different information on your community. I mentioned before that LeaseStar works in the two facets. The first facet it's going to work in, I'm going to say, is going to be the syndication. And all of the information for your syndication is coming from this section right here. So all of these different floor plans are where apartments.com, apartments, etc., for rent.com, all of those different websites are going to come in here. They're going to come into your property profile in these different tabs, and that's where they're going to get the information from their website. The nice thing about that is it eliminates the need for you to log into every single one of your online advertising and update it manually. It's automatically going to update your pricing. It's automatically going to update your photos. It's automatically going to update your description when you come into LeaseStar and update it all this way. So what we need from you and from your team is to keep on top of the information that is in LeaseStar. We don't want you advertising out of date or incorrect information. So what you need to do is go into your property profile and verify all of the information that's held within these tabs. So let's kind of do a quick run through of where all that information is located. So that way, if you do go on apartments.com and you see that your amenities for your one bedroom floor plan aren't right, you know exactly where to go in LeaseStar to verify, to remedy that, to fix it. So the first tab that's going to pop up whenever you go to your property profile is going to be the floor plans and rents tab. This is where all the information for your different layouts as well as your pricing information is going to be located. A lot of this is going to be done for you if you're on YieldStar, and you can see here Broadmoor Ridge is on YieldStar, and it says right here, data sync with YieldStar is active, and you can even see the last time that it was updated. So this was updated this morning. If you're noticing that, this date and this time are more than 24 hours from now, give the marketing department a help desk ticket, go in there and let us know. That's something that we need to work with YieldStar and LeaseStar to see who, where the miscommunication is, where the disconnect is, to cause it to not be syncing properly. You might have been able to guess, just from the names of the companies, but LeaseStar and YieldStar are sister products. They're all owned by the same company, which is RealPage, so these two products work really, really well together. YieldStar does a really good job of coming in and updating all of this information, all of these prices every single day. If you see that it's not doing that, again, please let us know this, sooner rather than later. That's something that's really, really important, because once again, the prices as they appear here is what they're going to appear as in all of your online advertising. So it's really, really critical that this is up to date and correct. If you are not on YieldStar, if you're just using market rate pricing, also that's totally fine. You're not going to see this data sync right here. You might see one from Yardi, or you might not see one at all. Really, then it's just kind of up to you to make sure that those prices are being maintained and updated. And I'll show you guys where you can go in and update your pricing if need be. The first thing I want you to do when you get into this section is to make sure that you don't have any duplicate floor plans. The only floor plans we want to see here are the ones that actually exist in Yardi. So, if you come in here and say, you work for Broadmoor Ridge and you sell Cottonwood, one bedroom, Pinyon duplicate, and Sagebrush, those are two extra floor plans that are really just duplicates of these two right here. So you want to make sure that you've just got the minimum of what you need as far as your floor plans are concerned. And the reason for that is because both Yardi and YieldStar will only feed to the floor plans that appear in Yardi. So if you've got a bunch of duplicate floor plans, or you've got extra floor plans that aren't actually found in the Yardi software, it's not going to get updated. So all of these are going to get updated every single day as far as the pricing goes and all that kind of stuff. Anything that's a duplicate will not, and you will have to go in and manually update that one every single day. So again, the focus here with LeaseStar is to make your life as easy as possible and to eliminate the need for you to go in and constantly be updating your pricing. If you have duplicate floor plans, it eliminates that, and you're going to have to update your pricing every single day anyway. So so say you come in here, you're Broadmoor Ridge, and you see that you have a duplicate floor plan. All you have to do to get rid of it is come over here to the far right-hand side, and you'll see these four little icons. Just click on the X icon. Are you sure you want to delete this floor plan? You would come in and click delete, and then that floor plan would be gone. I am not, because I don't want to mess with Broadmoor Ridge's stuff. Once you click delete and you click OK, it'll refresh this page, and you should see only the floor plans, again, that you've gone through and made sure that you're not deleting. Word of caution to you when you're going through and deleting things is if you are already synced up with YieldStar, you do not want to delete the YieldStar active floor plan. So if you have 2 or 3 duplicates of your one bedroom, you want to make sure that you are deleting the ones that are not linked up to YieldStar. Pretty easy to figure out which ones are linked up to YieldStar. You'll see the number of available units. If you have a duplicate floor plan, it will actually say 0. The other way you can do it is to come over here and click the plus sign, and you'll see that it lists out all of your active units underneath. The last thing I want you guys verifying here is going to be all the information about your floor plans. So you want to make sure that the name is correct. You want to make sure the number of beds, bedrooms, and bathrooms is correct, and the square footage is correct. Here you can see Broadmoor Ridge has gone through and done this, and they've done a fantastic job. So this name right here is the Yardi name for their one bedroom. If you are a prospect, this means literally nothing to you. Just looks like a series of letters and numbers, and even though, on site you might know what that means, that doesn't really look like anything to a prospect. For Broadmoor Ridge, they actually, on their brochures, have names for each of their floor plans, so that's where they got cottonwood, pinyon, and sagebrush. You want to make sure to keep everything consistent. So if in your brochure your floor plans have names, you want those names to match here in LeaseStar. If they don't have names, if they're just referred to as 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, that's totally fine. Come in here and name these 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. Just make sure to keep it consistent. So if you're spelling out the word bedroom, make sure you spell it out for all of them. If you're abbreviating it to BD, that's fine. Just make sure that it's consistent with all 3 of them. Same goes for whether or not you're spelling out the number of bedrooms or if you're using, the numeric value. So if you're writing the number 1 and then BD, make sure that it's, the number 2 and then BD and the number 3 and then BD. If you're spelling them out, O-N-E, BD, that's fine too. Just make sure, again, that you're consistent between all of your floor plans so that they all kind of look the same. If you find yourself in that situation, so it's got a Yardy name or it's got a name that's not right or the names aren't consistent, to fix that all you have to do, again, is come over to the far right-hand side. You'll see this little pencil icon. Go ahead and click on that. You'll have another page open, and this is all of the information for this layout. So up here, floor plan name is where you can change that name to whatever fits. Number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, the square footage, if you have a range. So if you have a 1-bedroom floor plan, but some of them have patios and some of them don't, or the square footage fluctuates a little bit, you can put the range in here if need be. Always make sure that the display status is active, even if you have none available, just because in all of your online advertising, you want to make sure that you're still advertising that you offer 2 bedrooms. So even if you have no 2 bedrooms available at all, you still want to make sure that it's active so that if somebody goes on apartments.com, they can see that you have 2 bedrooms, and then when they contact you, they can find out more about the availability. The rent area, again, if you were on YieldStar, don't even worry about this area. It will update that daily. If you are not on YieldStar, you can go ahead and choose if you want to go with a range, if you want to put in the exact amount for your market value, feel free to do that. And then the values go in here. As far as the application fee and security deposit go, you can include that information if need be. If you choose to include the deposit information, it has kind of a limited number of options for you to choose from. You can choose specify and type in what the deposit is for this one. Just make sure that you always include information about the fact that the deposit is based on approved credit. So even if your 1-bedroom deposit is $200, if they have poor credit, it could really wind up being, closer to $400 or $500. Just make sure if you choose to specify or you choose an option for that in the little description here that you say it's on approved credit, and always refer them to contact the leasing office for more information. You're the one that can really let them know, if they call in and they let you know about their credit, they're like, I have really limited credit, or I have stuff in collections, or I have no credit. You are able to give them more information as far as, what that's going to mean for them as far as their deposit is concerned. So again, on approved credit, and always refer them to contact you to get more information. Underneath that is where you'll find all of the amenities. In order to get full points for each layout, you need to list at least 5 interior amenities. And let me stress the word interior. When you're going through the floor plans and you're putting in the amenities for this section, you want to make sure that you are only including information about your floor plan amenities. This is not the area where you list your swimming pool and your hot tub and your fitness center. This is where you list things like washer and dryer. This is where you include things about, walk-in closets, if you have upgraded flooring, if you have central air conditioning. All of that information should be here. The other thing to consider is that they have this list of predetermined amenities. If you see the amenity in the list, I always recommend going with that option. So instead of going through and typing in what you include in your apartments, it's always better if they offer it to choose theirs, because those are the ones that are going to get pushed out to your online advertising. Some online advertisers will take custom amenities like what they've typed in here. Some of them will not. So, if LeaseStar has it listed here, you're better off choosing the one that they include. If what they have is just not going to work for you, it's not a good option. Like for Broadmoor Ridge, they mention washer and dryer hookup, but with Broadmoor Ridge, they include the washer and dryer. So for them, it was really important that they type their own in so that they could use this word right here, included, so that people would know that they would get the washer and dryer in their apartment. That's totally fine if you feel that you need to do that, or if you offer something that you don't see here. So, if you offer 9-foot ceilings and you want to advertise that, all you have to do is click Add Custom Amenity. It adds something down. It adds a blank space here at the bottom. You can type in 9-foot ceilings, and then that's an amenity that you're going to be advertising. The other thing that you can do here is go ahead and put them in the order that makes sense to you. You guys are on site every day. You're the ones that are dealing with the prospects, and you know what gets prospects in the door and what they like about your apartments. So we really want you to have the power to kind of alter the order that these are put in based on your experiences on site. So if you know that people absolutely love that's the #1 thing, is that you include washer and dryer, and you have so many people that are like, we need a place with a washer and dryer. You guys are the only place on the street that include it. We love it. We want to rent here. You should definitely put that towards the top of the list. So if you want to change kind of the order that these are in, all you have to do is hover over. You'll get this little compass-looking symbol. Click and drag this into the position that you want it to be in. So maybe, I think it should come right here, right after large closets. Or, okay, if it wants to cooperate, that is. There we go. Once you have it in the position that you want it to be in, just go ahead and drop it, and it will reorder everything to reflect the changes that you've just made. So once you have all of your different options here chosen, if you want to include something, all you have to do is check the box to include it, uncheck it to get rid of it. Once you're happy with this and it's in the order that you like and it's got all of the amenities, all you have to do is come down here to the bottom right-hand corner and click Save. Once you click Save, it'll exit out of this page and take you back to that Floor Plans and Rents tab. I am going to cancel out of it so I don't mess Broadmoor stuff up. And it'll take you right back to this page. Those changes that you made are not for all of your floor plans. That is just for the one that you clicked on the pencil icon for. So those changes will have to be made in all of your floor plans, all 3 of them. The nice thing about it, though, is typically that information doesn't really change much, with the exception possibly of the price, depending on what sort of pricing software you're using. So once you do it once, you go through and you get those amenities in order, you're not going to have to really do it again after that. So, when you first get in there, definitely go through, verify everything, get everything exactly how you like it, and then, you're pretty much set after that. The last thing I want to go over on this tab is going to be on the very far right-hand side, and that's this little Polaroid looking icon. If you go ahead and click on that, I mentioned before when we were going through the property profile page that where a lot of people lose points is going to be on the floor plan diagram and interior photos. This is what a lot of people forget. They forget to click on that little icon of the picture and upload their floor plan diagrams and 3 interior photos. When you add photos or you add diagrams, there's a few rules in place that you definitely want to follow. #1, and this is the biggest one, is we only use professional photography for our online advertising. So what that means is there's no cell phone pictures, there's no pictures from a digital camera. in order for a picture to be included on LeaseStar, it needs to be a professional photo and verified by the marketing department. If you have some photos that you're not sure of, or they were already on your computer and they look like they could be professional, or maybe somebody just took them, if you're not sure, contact the marketing department, put it in a help desk, attach those photos, and we will let you know. The other option that we have there is if you attach the photos and we look through them and they're like, these don't look professional, but they look really good, we can go in and professionally retouch them so that they'll fit in with your professional photography. So Broadmoor Ridge did a great job. First, they uploaded their floor plan. When you upload any image to LeaseStar, it's automatically going to tag it as a photo. In order to get the points for including a diagram, you need to click on this little, it looks like a price tag. You'll get a drop-down menu, and then you choose which option it is. If it's a 2D diagram, if it's a 3D diagram, or a 3D diagram with furniture in it, pick the one that reflects what your diagram looks like, and then you'll get full points for your, including your floor plan on each of your layouts. When it comes time to upload these photos, your interior photos, again, these are only interior photos. We don't want to see any pictures of amenities, no swimming pool no swimming pool photos, no clubhouse photos, no building photos. We only want to see the interior here. The other thing to remember about interior photos is that pictures with furniture are always going to be better than empty room pictures. So if you have photos of your model, those are the ones that we want using for your interior photos as opposed to just, pictures of empty rooms. Even though those empty rooms might be more reflective of that particular floor plan, we would still rather you use pictures of your model. The reason for that is that pictures of an empty room don't really provide any sort of spatial recognition for a prospect. So when they're looking at a photo and there's nothing in there to give them context of what size this room is, they can really in their own mind decide the size of the room and possibly decide wrong. They might think that a room is much larger than it actually is, and then when they show up for their tour, they're disappointed when their California King and giant furniture isn't going to all fit into this bedroom because they thought it looked bigger in the pictures. If you provide them a photo with furniture in it, they can get an idea of how big that room is in with sort of a real recognition of the size of that room. In this picture right here for the model bedroom, you can see that's a queen-size bed. It looks like they've got some more furniture on this side of the room. There's a couple of nightstands with a little bit of space on each. So I can make judgments on this room and have it be more realistic because I'm comparing it to something that I can recognize. I can recognize that this is a queen-size bed, so I can kind of give myself an idea of how much space I'm going to have in that room. Same goes for, kitchen photos aren't, that's not as important that there's furniture in it. Really, we want to get an idea of kind of, this is what the cabinets look like, this is what the counters look like, you're going to get a full-size stove here. That's really what we want a prospect taking away from a photo, as opposed to having them trying to determine their entire life in that apartment based on photos. We want to give them a feel for the apartment more so than this is exactly what it's going to look like. So, and for Broadmoor Ridge, I will say their model is actually for a 2-bedroom. So these photos, even though they're of a 2-bedroom, they still work for this 1-bedroom floor plan, and these are a much better option than, pictures of empty rooms. So, sorry, kind of went on a tangent there, but it's really, really important that, you keep that in mind when you're uploading your photos here. Again, once you've uploaded all of your photos, you can rearrange them just like you did before. All you have to do is click and drag, and you can kind of put them in the order that makes sense for you. So, and when you do that, kind of keep an idea of, how you tour the apartment. If you come into the living room and then you look at the kitchen and then you look at the bedroom, go ahead and put it in that order. Whatever order makes sense to you, get them in the order that you like. Then when you're done, you can go ahead and click Save Changes, and all of your changes will register. It'll kick you back to this page, and again, those changes are not permanent for all of the floor plans, so you will need to go into, for Broadmoor Ridge, all 3 of them and make sure that you've got everything uploaded that you need to have in there. So the next section we're going to go to is going to be the property description. This is where most of the information is going to come from. This first section here, your property location, that's provided by LeaseStar. The map doesn't actually go anywhere, so if the pin's not exactly right, don't worry. That's literally just so that they could have some sort of graphic right here. If there is a problem with the address, unfortunately that's not something that we take care of. That's something that LeaseStar takes care of. Put in a help desk ticket immediately. That's something we need to get taken care of right away. We will submit that with LeaseStar, and they will go ahead and fix whatever's wrong with the address in here. The next section, the property logo. This area should already be taken care of for you. You should already have your logo uploaded there. If you do not have your logo uploaded there, keep in mind that this is for a graphics image only. What that means is if there's nothing there, we don't want you uploading a picture of your monument sign or scanning something that has your logo on it and trying to use that. We would much rather you contact us at the marketing department. We have every property's logo. We will go ahead and upload that for you if need be. If it's already in there, don't worry about changing it unless you see that it's an out-of-date logo or it's incorrect or there's a problem with it. Let us know. We will take care of that for you. The next section is for your description. This is going to, again, it's going to be pushed out to all of your online advertising. It's also going to be what's used on your Craigslist ads if you choose to go with the default description. So there's two sections here, and this is where a lot of people lose out on points because they just look at the description portion of it and they completely skip the headline. Your headline is just a one-sentence tagline for your property. It doesn't need to include a lot of information. It doesn't need to be super detailed. It's literally just something that they throw at the top of Craigslist ads. So what Broadmoor Ridge has here is absolutely perfect. Stop by Broadmoor Ridge today to find out why you'll love calling our community home. That's fantastic. They could have even stopped after, stop by Broadmoor Ridge today. It's really basic, really simple. Don't worry about including a bunch of information on your amenities or your location or what you offer. Really, again, just a quick tagline for your property. If you want to include, maybe the city, check out Broadmoor Ridge located in Colorado Springs. Anything like that, that's totally fine, but don't worry about getting too detailed in that section. Where you want to include a lot of detail is going to be here in the description. This is where you're going to go into the different amenities that you offer, how great your location is, your friendly office staff, all of that kind of information is going to be housed here in the description. Your description should be anywhere between 150 and 250 words. Anything less than that, and you're not going to be getting full points. Please do not lose sleep over your description because the easiest way to fill this out is to go to your community page, that home page, and copy and paste those paragraphs into this area right here. If you need to make any edits or change anything, all you have to do is click on it. It'll open up the two sections, and you can go ahead and make the changes that need to be made. So if you see some information that's wrong in your description, feel free to correct that, go through, delete anything as needed. I will say keep an eye out for stuff like this. This is HTML coding. Basically what it is it tells the online source how you want this formatted. So you'll see that, in this section it will let you hit enter and put spaces between your paragraphs, but then when you go to actually post it, those don't exist. Because according to the online source, all they're looking at is characters. They don't care how it's formatted. The only thing they understand as far as formatting is information like this. So what Broadmoor Ridge has here, I'll tell you, this HTML code right here means line break. So what that tells, something like Craigslist or apartments.com is that they want the paragraph to end here and the next paragraph to start on the next line. The second line break is what creates the space. So it wants to line break and go to the next line, and then line break and go to the next line, and that's how you wind up with these spaces. If you see this coding in there, do not mess with it. Leave it as is. Don't delete it. Don't, delete one of the carets, because if you break HTML coding, it just shows all of it. It'll revert back to what it originally does, which is put everything, as one big long paragraph, and it'll include this HTML coding in the typing, and it looks really weird. So don't mess with that stuff. If you have questions about that, or it looks like it's been broken, or you're having issues with it, again, put in the help desk ticket. I don't want any of you having to try and spend your time learning HTML coding. It is an absolute nightmare. Just put in a help desk ticket and let one of us take care of that for you. Once you're satisfied with all of your changes, go ahead and click Save. If you forget this step, none of the changes that you make will take effect, and when you come down here to one of these other sections, it won't let you edit anything until you save or cancel out of this section. So I'm going to cancel out. I don't think I made any changes, but just in case. So the next sections you're going to run into are going to be the neighborhood info, which is this right here. Any information that you have about the neighborhood, feel free to put in there. That's fantastic. This section isn't actually worth any points, so you're not going to lose points by leaving it empty. But the more information that you can include, the better. The more information a prospect can get from your ad, the less likely they are to go to another ad. So, if you know the schools that are in your area, go ahead and fill those out. If you know the bus route that you're on, or, if you're in Denver and you know that you're near a light rail station, you can go ahead and include that kind of information. If you have any sort of a train or tram system in your area and you know that information, again, that's great to include for your prospects. The last area over here, additional neighborhood info, if you want to type information in there, that's great. One thing that Broadmoor Ridge could put in if they wanted to is they are located literally next to Gate 3 of Fort Carson. The road that they're on is Gate 3. You have to get on that road to enter, the Army base. That's great information to include. If you want to type that into the additional neighborhood info, feel free, go for it. The only thing to keep in mind when you're doing that is always, always, always remember your fair housing training. I know that everybody has been through it already. Some of us have been through it multiple times. So it's really important that you keep that in mind when you're typing information in there. And a good rule of thumb to utilize when you're trying to decide if something's a violation or not is, are you talking about a location or are you talking about people? So if you want to say, located next to Gate 3 of Fort Carson, or something like that, that's great. You're talking about a location. You're letting people know what your property is near. What's not okay is to say great for military families. While that's true, since you are so close to Fort Carson, it is great for military families. You don't want somebody that maybe doesn't have a family to think that they're not welcome at your community, because again, that would be a violation of fair housing based on familial status. So keep that in mind when you're typing information, and that's kind of a general rule too. Anytime you're talking about your location, are you talking about a landmark or an object or a street or something like that, or are you talking about people? If you find that you're talking about people, try to steer away from that and get back to just landmarks and locations. The next section in this property profile description is going to be the pet policy and the parking detail. Both of these fill out to the best of your knowledge. So again, the more information you put in here, the better. This is where you can put the deposit information, the monthly pet rent, do you allow pets and what kinds, and all of this information is great to include. And then when you get to this section, restrictions, fees, and other terms, what Broadmoor Ridge has put in here is absolutely perfect. When you are going over the restrictions, I know that most properties include breed restrictions, and it's really tempting to type all of those breed restrictions into this section. The reason you want to avoid that is going to be, number one, it shows up as one big long paragraph in all of your online advertising, and again, sometimes prospects, they're going to take the easier way and they're not going to want to read through all of that. The second reason for that is because we want them to contact you for the breed restrictions so that you can go over what those breed restrictions really mean. The last thing you want is for a prospect, if I'm a prospect and I'm thinking of moving to Broadmoor Ridge and I see in their breed restrictions that they don't allow German Shepherds, I might not even call them because I have a German Shepherd and that's non-negotiable. The dog is coming with me, so I can't live here. When in reality, if I would have called, maybe I would have found out, that they do allow service pets, and mine's a service pet, so I actually can live here. You don't want to create that confusion, and you don't want prospects making decisions about your pet policy for themselves without actually talking to you. So even though you do have the ability in this section to go into great detail, we would really rather you go into detail when you're talking to the prospect one-on-one. So what they have here is perfect. Breed restrictions apply. It's good for them to know that there are breed restrictions. Please contact the office for more information. Anytime you can refer a prospect to contacting you, do it. We would much rather have them, again, get that information from you as opposed to making decisions for themselves based on what they see on apartments.com. Same goes for the parking. You can go a little bit into detail here as far as what your parking situation is going to be. That's great. But always refer them to contacting you for more information. It's important in the parking section as well because, as you know what Broadmoor Ridge has here, on-site parking available on a first-come, first-served basis. Fantastic. So as a prospect, I know that there's, they have parking. It's open parking. So I'm going to bring my car, my motorcycle, my boat, my RV, my broken-down truck that I've been working on for 10 years, and, my roommate's going to bring 3 cars too. In reality, that's a violation of the lease agreement. We're only allowed 2 leases per apartment or per person, or however your parking sections are worded in your lease. We would rather they get that information from you than, again, being that prospect that thinks they can bring 27 vehicles onto your property. Again, really important takeaway from this is just to understand you really want them to get the information from you and not from anyone else. The next area is the lease terms. Again, what Broadmoor Ridge has here is perfect, 3 to 13 months. Price varies by lease length. Once again, contact the leasing office for more info. If you are on YieldStar, you can offer shorter-term leases, but those shorter-term leases are going to be more expensive. So we want the prospect to understand that, yes, this price that we're advertising is true, but if you are going to change the lease term, you might end up, paying more or, potentially paying less. You never know. But we'd rather, again, they get that information from you. If you are not on YieldStar or you have different options for your lease lengths, go ahead and put those in there. 3 to 13 is just standard for YieldStar. If you only do 6 to 12 or, 6 to 15, go ahead and put that in there. And then whatever information applies, but always include to contact you for more info. Even if you are market rate pricing, even if you do, everything is kind of set as far as your lease terms go, still refer them to you. We still want them calling you. About the structure, any information you can put in there is great. Go for that. And then last but not least is the leasing office hours. You'll notice that there's 4 columns here. The reason for that is if you guys close for lunch, you can go ahead and advertise that. So maybe you're open from 9 to noon, and then from 1 to 6, you can, reflect that in your office hours. If you don't close for lunch, Broadmoor Ridge is a 3-person office, so they just kind of do staggered lunches, so they're always open. So they've advertised that, and it's perfect. If you go onto apartments.com or Apartment Guide and you see that your office hours are wrong, most of the time it's because the hours got entered wrong into this section. If not, if the hours are correct in LeaseStar or any of the information is correct in LeaseStar but wrong on one of your online advertising sources, go ahead and contact the marketing department, put in a help desk ticket, and we'll look into why that integration isn't working correctly. When you go to change your leasing office hours, I will say it's not what you think it is. As far as just, it looks like it would just be typing in, the time, 9 a.m., 6 p.m. In reality, when you click on it, you get this drop down, these slider bars, and you can just slide them to the correct hours. It doesn't let you type in there. I don't know why. This is just kind of what it is. Once you've made the changes to all of the hours, and also if you're closed, you can go ahead and check that box. It'll undo it. It'll remove your hours, and it'll actually list as Sunday closed as opposed to just having no information on Sunday. Once you're satisfied with all of the changes that you've made, you can go ahead and click Save. It'll save all of the changes that you made, and the next time those online advertising sources go into update, they'll go ahead and update your new hours as well. Let me just cancel that. Perfect. So that is everything as far as the property description. The next section is going to be the amenities, and I mentioned before that, when you were in the floor plans, we didn't want to see your community amenities in there, only floor plan amenities. Same goes for this section, but vice versa. This is for your community amenities. This is what you have on site. This is not where you list, washer, dryer, air conditioning, walk-in closets. That's all for the floor plans. This is all for community amenities. So this is where I want to see information on your swimming pool, on your clubhouse, on your fitness center, any sort of information or any sort of activities or things that your community offers that all the residents can take part of. That's where this information is going to be stored. If you click on it, you'll see it's exactly the same as the floor plan amenities. You can add custom ones, you can reorder them, you can check boxes. Everything with that stays the exact same. For this section, though, I will say, for you to get full points on your property profile, you have to have at least 11. If you just can't think of 11 options, you just can't seem to get there, put in a help desk ticket. I can totally help with that. We can come up with some stuff to get you up to that minimum number of 11. Last but not least is manage media. This is where all of your photos are going to be. So this is where your community photos, same with kind of same rules as the amenities. I mentioned before in the floor plans when you were uploading those photos that we only want interior photos there. Here we want all of your photos. So here we want interior, exterior, amenity, all of them. And you can see for Broadmoor Ridge that they have all of their different photos uploaded here. Let's go ahead and edit. So you can see here when they're all listed out together, this is the way that the gallery is going to go through. Same as before when you're uploading your interior photos. You want this all to flow like a tour. So, you don't want kind of sporadic random photos all throughout. You want it to kind of, step by step, each photo that you look at kind of makes sense as far as like if you're going for a tour of this community. We want it to read like a digital tour. So, the way that Broadmoor Ridge has this is absolutely perfect. You start with their clubhouse with the monument sign. That's the first thing you see when you drive up. And then when you take the tour, they take you by the swimming pool. They've got a few different angles of that. Then they'll take you through the fitness center, through the lounge area, the business center. And then on the way to the model, you'll see, the grounds, the exterior, the landscaping, the playground. And then when you get into the apartment, you go through the interior photos. That's perfect. It all flows. It makes sense. And as a prospect, when I'm clicking through that, I'm kind of taking a digital tour of Broadmoor Ridge. The only exception to that rule is going to be this first photo right here, the one that's bigger. This photo is going to be your default photo on all of your online advertising. So it's really, really important that this is your best photo. Even if it doesn't make sense with the flow of the rest of it, that is totally fine. This can be a random photo. If you think your pool is the best asset, if you have this just amazing picture of your kitchen and dining room that you love, whatever you think your best photo is, make that your default picture, even if it doesn't make sense to the flow of the rest of these. That's just because, when people are going through online, typically, not always, but a lot of times they're just kind of scrolling through until they find a picture that they like. So you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and you're going to be the community that they click on. As far as reordering things, it's the exact same as it was before, where you just click and drag, drop it where you want it, and it reorders all of your photos. Once you are done, again, always, always, always remember to click Save Changes. If you do not click Save Changes, you will not, nothing that you do here will take place, and you'll have to start all over. And I can't tell you how many times I've done that. It's super frustrating. So just always remember to click Save Changes. Once you do that, it will navigate you back to that original page. So that is everything as far as the property profile. The last two tabs here we don't really use, so just go ahead and ignore those. But these four are where all of your information for your syndication is going to come from. That information is going to get pushed out to apartments.com, apartments, etc., apartment guide. Those companies will pick through the information and just kind of insert it into their template for you. So you don't have to worry about going through and updating it constantly. I mentioned before that really, it's LeaseStar is a twofold program. The first is going to be the syndication. The second is going to be, it's our Craigslist posting tool. So that's the next area that we're going to go through. Everything that we just went over applies to that as well, because when LeaseStar is creating your Craigslist ads, they're getting that information from these sections. So, when it comes to LeaseStar, everything is a process, and you want to start from step one, because if you skip ahead and you just start, building ads for your property without going through the property profile, you're building ads with incorrect information, and you're going to have to go back and correct them later. So step one for you guys is going to be going through your property profile and making sure that all of the information in these sections is completely correct. Once you're satisfied all the information is correct, the next thing you're going to do is going to come to this Post to Classifieds tile, and that's going to take you to your Craigslist listing library. So what that means is these are all the different ads that you can choose from to post to Craigslist. Broadmoor Ridge has gone above and beyond, and they've created tons and tons of content. In reality, when you guys first start out, you're typically going to have probably 3 or 4 ads for each of your floor plans, and then probably 2 or 3 property, just kind of generic ads that you have to choose from. That's enough to get you started so that you can start posting, and then as you start, getting accustomed to it and it starts making more sense, you can go through and start doing what Broadmoor Ridge did and create more and more content for you to choose from. The more content you have to choose from, the less likely you are to repeat ads, which is going to be huge later on when we go through flagging and ghosting. So I mentioned before that LeaseStar is a process, and if you skip ahead to steps 2 and 3 without doing step 1, you're going to have to go back and correct it. Same goes for building content for your listing library. You want to start back at step 1. Don't just go in and click Create New Listing, or else you're going to have to go through and correct that information over and over again. Step 1 for creating new content is going to be going to your listing descriptions. And here you can see, again, with Broadmoor Ridge, they have a ton of content to choose from. If you don't have as much content, and whenever you start out, the way that your content is going to work is, each ad is going to have a unique description, a unique title, and that's all the content that you're going to have. So when you go and you start creating new ads, if you don't create new content, you don't create new descriptions, and you don't create new titles, you're going to be reusing the same information over and over again. So it's a good idea to periodically come in here and create new descriptions and new titles, and it's okay to repeat yourself a little bit, but you don't want to get into the habit where all of your ads are reusing the same information over and over and over again. So when you want to create a new description, all you have to do is come up here to this top left-hand corner and click Create New Description. Once you do that, you'll have a description name box and a description text. I always recommend doing the text first. So for this one, we're just going to say example 1. 1 bedroom, how about? Typically for your descriptions, the most successful ones are going to talk about your amenities. So you're going to list the different interior amenities or community amenities. If you want to, include a little bit of information on your floor plans, or not your floor plans, your location, that's great too. The more generic the information is, the more you can use that. If you start getting into specifics, second floor or handicap accessible or available January 31st, or, you know, check out these amazing Valentine's Day deals, or, you know, the more specific you get with the information that you include, the more limited you are and the more upkeep you're going to have to do. So if you choose to use specific information, it's really, really important that you remember to go in and audit these descriptions and titles and ads so that you're not accidentally posting an ad that includes information that's no longer valid. So the ones that are created for you when you initially log in, those are all generic and can be used anytime. If you have, let's say you have a one-bedroom that you've had available for 3 months and you just have to get rid of it. So you want to list, you know, you want to list all the information about this apartment, that it's on the second floor and it has vaulted ceilings and, you know, it's overlooking the mountains, or it's located right next to the clubhouse, or, you know, whatever information you want to include on this apartment. You can create a description and a title for that and create its own ad. But once that apartment rents, you need to go in and delete it because you don't want to continue to advertise for this apartment that's no longer available. So for ours, example one bedroom, the one specification about this one is that I can only use this description for one bedroom ad. So for the name, I want to mention that. So we'll just say that this is a one bedroom description. Let me go ahead and click Save. And then when we go back to the list, you see one bedroom description right here. Aside from that, over here on the right-hand side, you'll see the last time each of these descriptions was used and the number of times that they've been used. For Broadmoor Ridge, again, since they've created so much content, I didn't even necessarily need to do that, because if I go through the number of times used, I can see the ones that they're using all the time, so I don't want to choose those ones when I'm building an ad. But this one, backdrop of Colorado's Front Range, they've only used this one once. So there's a good chance if I went through and I created an ad with this description, it wouldn't really conflict with what they're already posting. So I could just go in and choose this one. Again, though, that's just because Broadmoor Ridge has gone above and beyond and created tons of different content for them to choose from. When you initially start out, like I said, all of the descriptions that you have are used equally. So when you go through to create new content, you know, you either be really cognizant of the ads, of the descriptions and titles that you're reusing, or go through and create new descriptions and titles. That's going to be the easiest way to make sure that you're not repeating information too often. Otherwise, you can come in and use this method, find the ones that you're not using as often, and utilize those descriptions in your ads. So the next section we're going to look at is going to be your listing title. Again, Broadmoor Ridge has tons of these to choose from. You'll see some of them aren't being used at all. Some of them are being used more often than others. So we want to make sure that we're not choosing one of those. I also want to see if we have any. Okay, here's a good example. So I mentioned before that you want to be cognizant of things that titles and descriptions and ads that are including information that's no longer valid. This is a prime example right here. So the title here is Look, Lease, and See Your Luck with our St. Patrick's Day promo. Great title, very catchy. The problem is the last time that this was posted was on May 27th. So 2 months after St. Patrick's Day ended, they were still advertising their St. Patrick's Day promo. And really what happened there was somebody they created this ad and they were utilizing it, and somebody just forgot to go back in and delete the ad that was using this title, or choose a different title for this ad. And so it was accidentally continuing to be part of the rotation all the way into May of last year. So again, the more specific that you get with your titles and with your descriptions, the more upkeep you need to be aware of. You need to make sure that you're going through and you're deleting titles and descriptions and ads that no longer make sense. If you want to keep this title and next year you want to create an ad that uses it again, that's great. Go for it. But you want to make sure that you're deleting the ad now until it makes sense again. If you want to create a new title, All you have to do is same area right here up in the top left-hand corner. You can click Create New Title. You can type in what you want. I'm going to just do example so it's easy for us to find again. Example 1 bedroom. Underneath here, they do have options for you to choose from, just, quick titles if you want to create those. These right here, what they label as attention getters, and these top ones, please use these sparingly. I don't want to see these in every single one of your titles. I don't want to see your titles mostly composed of these. I would much rather you use these characters to actually say something about your apartment. So, when you're creating a title, again, the most successful ones, they're going to talk about your amenities, they're going to talk about your location, they're going to talk about, your property. If you're mostly using triangles and little squiggles and stars, that's not telling prospects anything about your community. And typically the prospects you want calling you are the ones that see you have what they're looking for. So if you mention that you include washer and dryer, you have central air conditioning, you have a fireplace, you have walk-in closets, you are going to attract prospects that are looking for those specific things. So you're already getting prospects that are interested in your product. If you just use stars and dashes and triangles, you might get somebody that wants nothing to do with anything that you have. So again, these attention getters, please use them sparingly, if at all. I would much rather see you use these 5 characters to say that, washer and dryer or AC or, something along those lines. It keeps a track of how many characters you're using. You're allowed up to 70. Once you hit 70, it'll cut it off so you know that, you're out of characters. Once you're happy with your title, you can just go on down here and click Save. And then it's going to save that in alphabetical order. So if we go down to where the E's are, here you can see it, example, 1 bedroom, and this is the one that we just created. So once you've gone through, you've created your description, you've created your title, or you've gone through and found a description title that you're not using very often, then you can come back to your listing library, click Create New Listing, and you can go through the process of creating your own ad. So the first step is going to be to choose which layout you're going to use. The title and description that we just created are for a 1 bedroom, so that's what I'm going to choose. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to find that one that I just made. Example 1 bedroom. Perfect. Description, again, I'm going to go through the drop-down menu and find the one that I just created. This is why it's so important that whatever you name your description is easily identifiable without having to read through it, because you don't want to have to read through each one of these to figure out if it'll work for a 1 bedroom. Whereas if you just, now maybe if I can find it. One bedroom description, there we go. You can just go through the drop-down menu as opposed to having to read each individual description. So once you've done that, the location should already be filled out for you. You can go ahead and click Next. And now you can go through and choose the different template designs. I will say this first one, Text Light, it includes the least amount of information. It's literally just your description, your location info, and your tagline. Use, again, like I said before, use those symbols sparingly. Use this never. The Text Light option, it's fine. It includes, it's not that the information is incorrect, but it's missing a critical component, and that's going to be this section right here. Want more information? All a prospect has to do is copy and paste this link, and they're sending you an email, and we're able to track that lead. The Text Light option does not include that, the email link, so we're not able to track any email leads that you get from that ad. I want you getting credit for every lead and every phone call and every email for every single one of your ads. So I don't want you guys to use this Text Light option. Really, the reason that this is here is sometimes Craigslist goes through random updates where they'll decide that they're not going to allow something. And having the Text Light option gives you an option to create ads that you know will be able to post online while LeaseStar fixes whatever problem Craigslist has created for us this week. It doesn't happen often, but usually about once or twice a year, you'll get an email from me that's sent out to the entire company saying, hey, Craigslist updated, its blocking feature for the time being. Create yourself some text light options. I will let you know when you can go through and delete those and start posting your regular ads again. But again, so, click through these, find one that you like. As you're creating more ads, make sure you're using all of them. You don't want to use the same ones over and over again. But, flip through these seven different layouts and decide which one you like and, apply that one. The next section you're going to go to is going to be to choose the content. This is the information that's included with each ad. And you can see here that we include a lot of information depending on what layout you choose. So we'll have, your community amenities, your floor plan amenities, you've got your office hours. There's a lot of information that you can include. By choosing the content, you're able to further customize your ad. So even if by some horrible accident you've already created this ad with this title and this description and this layout, just by saying, you know what, for this one I'm not going to include the description, you've created a completely unique ad. And so, for some of them, it's maybe, I want to include the description but not the property amenities. Or maybe I don't want to include any amenities with this one. Just, play around with it. Some of them include all the information. Some of them take some of the information away. The only ones you can never get rid of is do not get rid of the URL, do not get rid of the equal housing, and do not get rid of the management company. The rest of them, feel free to play around with. Once you're satisfied with your ad, you've chosen your design, you've chosen the content, go back up to the very top of the page and click Next. And it's going to ask you to name this listing. This is really important. Again, I mentioned before when you were doing the descriptions that you want the name to reflect the information that's included in the description. This goes double for your classified listing. This name doesn't go anywhere. This is just for you to be able to identify the information that's in this ad without actually having to look through the ad. So if you're creating that St. Patrick's Day promo ad, this is where you're going to go ahead and say that. And you're going to say St. Patrick Day ad. And then, you can go ahead and click Save. Once it's in your posting library, it will appear as St. Patrick's Day ad, and then after St. Patrick's Day, you can go through and just delete that ad. So I'm going to do that. We'll go ahead and click Save, and then it's going to kick you back to this page. This is the page that you started on when you clicked on Post to Classifieds. So now when we scroll through, and again, it goes in alphabetical order, so we'll go down to the S's, and here you can see St. Patrick's Day ad. So after St. Patrick's Day, when this promo is no longer applying, I can just come over here to the right-hand side and click the red X. Once you click the red X, you get this, are you sure you want to delete? Go ahead. You can either click delete or cancel, depending. For our sake, I'm not actually going to delete it right now. I'll do that later. But just click delete. It's gone. It's no longer going to be an option, and you're no longer going to be accidentally posting it in May. The last step after you create all of your new ads is to update the posting rotation. LeaseStar contacts you in one of three ways. It's either going to, if you download your Action Center, it'll pop up in your Action Center. It's going to send an email reminder to whatever email address they have on file, or you can go in and manually choose which ads you want to post. If you're using the first two options, the posting rotation is really important to you because LeaseStar has a built-in algorithm to rotate through your ads so you don't post the same ad over and over and over again. It also makes sure that you're not posting in a distinct pattern for Craigslist to catch on to. So once you've created your new ads, you need to go to the posting schedules, which is this last tab right here. And here are the different reminders that you're getting. Everybody should be set up with 3 reminders a day. Over here you've got the name, 10:30 a.m., 4:30 p.m., 12:30 p.m. Where that reminder is going to, for Broadmoor Ridge, it's going directly to the property email address, the next time it's scheduled to appear, and then how often it happens. All of that information can be edited by clicking on the little pencil. And you see it's got the breakdown here of that information that we just went over. This middle section here, listing rotation, this is what's most important. So let's see if we can find the ad that we just created. So here we go. You see St. Patrick's Day ad, and it is not checked. LeaseStar does not automatically start rotating through the listings that you've recently created. You have to come in and add them to that rotation. So until you come in and check this box, that St. Patrick's Day ad is never going to be sent to you in the email or through the Action Center. So come in, add the different ads that you've created to your posting rotation, and then you can scroll down here to the bottom and click Save. Once you do that, it kicks you back to the posting schedule page, and it updates that reminder that you were just in. Again, this doesn't do it for all 3 of them, so you will have to go into the other 2 and repeat that process again. Once you've done that, though, it adds that listing to the posting rotation, and it will start being one of the options for it to email to you either at 10:30, 12:30, or 4:30. So I am not actually at Bunbury Ridge, so I'm not going to get those email reminders. So I'm just going to go through the posting process manually. So if you get that link and you don't like the one that it wants you to post, or you know of a specific ad you want to post, or for some reason you didn't get the email link, you can always come in and manually choose which one you're going to post. When you do that, the 2 columns that are going to be most important to you, really it's 1 column, is going to be this last time it was posted. You don't want to post something that has, you recently did. Go back and find something that's a little bit older. Like this one here, if I wanted to post for a 2-bedroom, this one hasn't been used since the 13th. So this would be a good option for me to choose from. But for us, I'm going to go all the way down to the one that we just created. So St. Patrick's Day ad, this one has 0 posts, and so there's no date for the last time it was posted. I'm going to choose this one. So on the far right-hand side, there's this button that says, turns purple and says Post. When you click on that, you should have 2 pages pop up. On the left-hand side is going to be your posting assistant from LeaseStar. On the right-hand side is going to be your navigation page. I will say in this portion of it, it's really important to know what browser you're using. You see down here at the bottom, I'm using Mozilla Firefox. I also have Internet Explorer and Google Chrome downloaded on my computer. These 2 do not work as well with the posting assistant. Internet Explorer won't allow you to drag and drop, which I'll show you here in a second. And Google Chrome doesn't allow you to navigate on this page. So my recommendation for everyone is to use Mozilla Firefox for your posting. It's going to make your life so much easier. So on this page right here, I'm going to go to Craigslist. The first thing you do when you go to Craigslist is you're going to go to My Account. And also when you go to Craigslist, you might show up on this page. All you have to do is scroll down and click on the city that you're in. So for us, we're in Colorado Springs for Broadmoor. This is the actual page. When a prospect wants to find an apartment, they're going to go to this Apartments and Housing. And then they're going to be able to go through. They can either look at just the titles, they can look at the pictures, or they can go to the actual map and find you on here. So keep these in mind, that this is what the prospect is looking at. This is why we want you to have a really catchy title, again, for the right reasons, where it lists all the different amenities that you have. Like these ones, move in for $5.99, last chance $99. Like, that's great. They tell me a lot about the deals, but it's not really telling me much about the apartment. So keep that in mind when you're creating those new titles, is that you want your title to jump out because somebody's like, oh, I want a washer and dryer, and these have washer and dryer. The other reason for that is they can search by that. So if I wanted washer and dryer, it eliminates anything that doesn't include information about it. So if it's in the title, then that's going to be, probably what they're going to click on. If not, if it's included in the ad, it'll still show up when they type that in. But again, having it in your title is going to be a big coup to you if that's what they're looking for. The thumbnail and gallery view is just because Craigslist realized that people hate reading nothing but the titles and they want to see pictures. The thumbnail view is, just puts it right next to it. The gallery view gives you a little bit larger image. Whichever image you upload first is going to be the default image. So it's really important that you keep that in mind and you don't post the same one over and over again. Let's see if we can find an example of that. Because it's just going to start looking like it's the same ad over and over and over again. And the likelihood of somebody clicking on that same ad twice is not very good because as a prospect, this is how I'm looking. I'm scrolling through and finding, and if I like a picture, I'll click on it. I'm not reading the titles. So if I see the same picture, I think it's the same ad. The titles might not be the same. The price and the number of bedrooms might not be the same. But as a prospect, I'm not even considering that. I'm just looking for pictures that I like. So keep that in mind when you're uploading your pictures, and we'll go over that when we go through the actual post. The last view that prospects are able to use is going to be this map view. Sorry, let me get back to the top. And this allows them to kind of, zoom in on the area that they want to live in, and then just kind of click through and find different options in those areas. So it's really important that you make sure that you put the pin in the exact spot for your apartment, and again, we'll go over that in more detail. So let's go back to Craigslist. So that was what the prospect's going to do. What you're going to do to post is going to be, number one, go to my account. When you go to your account, it's going to ask you to log in. Once you're logged in, you'll see a big long list of all of the different ads that you've posted, their status, so you'll see if they're active or not. You'll see the title with a link that you can click on to go to that ad, and then information about when it was posted and the posting ID. The reason that we go here first is because we want to make sure that we are maintaining all of our accounts. So Broadmoor Ridge is really good about making sure that they go through and they delete their old ads. It looks like they went a little bit longer than what they should have, just because we want to make sure that we're not advertising anything that's older than 48 hours. So if today is January 30th, we only want to have active ads from January 29th and January 28th. Anything that's older than January 28th should be like these are here. They should be blue and say deleted. To delete your old ads, all you have to do is click on this little delete button. It'll take you to the ad, say, are you sure? Yep, go ahead and click delete. And it'll give you this message right here. This posting has been deleted from Craigslist. Go ahead and click on your email address. And it should take you back to your account. And then when you scroll down, you'll see that ad has been deleted. The reason that we want to make sure we delete anything older than 48 hours is, number one, when you're on LeaseStar, your pricing is going to change, and we don't want somebody to bring in a price from 2 weeks ago and be mad that you're not going to honor that. The other reason is because Craigslist has an entire team of people dedicated to trying to find businesses and deleting their ads. If you get an ad deleted by Craigslist, it's going to say deleted, like it does here, but it's all going to be in pink. And what that means is somebody from Craigslist has decided that you violated their terms of service, and they're going to go through and delete your ads for you. So even though you're, going through and posting these ads, the prospects are not going to be able to find them because Craigslist is deleting them from your account. If that's happening, it's usually because you have too many of the same ad, or you post too often, or you're posting from multiple computers. Each account has an IP address associated with it. What that means is Craigslist is able to see exactly which computer is utilizing this account. What that means for you on site is that only one computer can do anything in Craigslist. So if the leasing consultant is the one that posts most often, that means on the leasing consultant's days off, the assistant manager or the property manager, whoever's taking over the posting duties, has to do it from the leasing computer. You cannot have multiple computers posting to the same account. It is a violation of Craigslist terms of service. You also want to make sure that you are not blasting Craigslist. What that means is posting a bunch of ads right in a row. You need to make sure that you have at least an hour in between each ad. Remember that Craigslist sometimes takes more than 20 minutes to get the ad online. So in reality, if you can give yourself about an hour and a half, that's actually going to be much better, because maybe you think you posted at 9 a.m., but Craigslist didn't actually get the ad live until 9:20. So then when you go to post at 10:15, you're actually posting within an hour. So again, if you follow the reminder schedule and just follow those emails that you're going to get, those are spaced out more than an hour and a half apart, you'll be totally fine. But if you want to post more than those 3, or maybe you want to post, you missed the one for 12:30, and so now it's 2 o'clock and you want to post that one, keep in mind that your next post needs to be at least an hour and a half after that. I mentioned the last reason that Craigslist would go through and delete any of your ads for you is if they see the same ad over and over again. By going through and deleting anything that's older than 48 hours, the likelihood of you getting your ads deleted is really, really low, because the likelihood of you having the exact same ad more than once is really, really low. If you only have 9 or 10 active ads, they're probably not the same, but if you have 75 active ads, odds are you repeated yourself a couple times. So just to make sure and minimize that risk, before you post in the morning each day, log into your Craigslist account, delete anything older than 48 hours, and then go through your posting day as normal. So let's pretend like we went through and we deleted everything that's older than 48 hours. So we'll go back to Craigslist, and now we're going to click Post to Classifieds. My recommendation for you is to bookmark this page so you don't have to go through this process every time. Before you start going through this list, again, make sure that you are logged into your account. If you are not logged into your account, it's going to, if you're not logged into your account, you'll get this message in the top right-hand corner. If you see that, stop everything you're doing, click on this, and go through that login screen. I'm going to skip it just because there's another area that you can see that, and I want you to see what that looks like. So let's pretend that, I'm posting for the day, so I'm going to come in. We're going to click Housing Offered, and then we're going to do Apartments and Housing for Rent. And then this is the second place you're going to see that you're not logged into your account. In this contact info, if it's asking you to type your email address, it means that you are not logged into your account. By typing your email address, you are also not logging into your account because it's not asking you for your password. This is just the email address that Craigslist is going to use to contact you. It does not associate that with the account that you have created. So instead of doing that, again, you're going to click Log into your account. And if you are logged into your account, instead of having that option to type your email address in, it will already have it filled in for you. Once you see this, you are good to go. You can proceed with the rest of the posting process. Step 1 is going to be to make sure you choose no replies to this email. We do not want to use the Craigslist email relay, and we don't want to show your real email address, number 1, because I don't want you getting a bunch of spam from Craigslist, because we all know it's Craigslist and it can get kind of creepy. The other reason is because we want to be able to track all of our contacts. So that link that I showed you when we were creating creating the ads that a prospect can use to email you, we want them using that to email you as opposed to emailing this directly. We're able to track that through PopCard, and LeaseStar is able to track that through their tracking system and actually tell you which of your specific ads work the best. So always, always, always choose no replies to this email. For the phone number, never type in your phone number. Use this one that LeaseStar has created for you, again, because they are able to track that through their tracking systems to see the success of this exact ad, and we're able to track that through LTS. If you're using Firefox, you can drag and drop, meaning once you see that this is highlighted, you can just click, drag it over to this box, and drop it in. If you are not using, if you're not using Firefox, you're going to have to come over and click copy. It'll give you a message letting you know that that was successful, and then you can just come through and click paste. Not that big of a difference, but when you're going through it, I promise you, it's so much easier if you can drag and drop. Kind of skipping back here to the phone number, you can, if you want to put the phone number in here, that's great. If not, you can just leave it blank. For the contact name, this needs to either say your property name or leasing office or nothing. Do not use personal names, number one, because we don't want your name on Craigslist. And number two, we don't want a prospect feeling like they can only talk to you. They can talk to anyone in the office, so I'm going to say leasing office. And then you just go through the process of dragging and dropping. So let me do that really quickly. Down here for the posting body, I don't know why they made it different names, but the posting body is the same as the posting description, and it's this little grayed out section right here. So if you're dragging and dropping, you can just kind of highlight that and drag it, or if you click copy paste, it works that way too. These sections do not change anything. Do not change the posting title. Don't go in and try and type anything in here. In the posting body, I don't want you breaking this HTML because it's going to look completely ridiculous when you go to actually post the ad. And we don't want you changing the posting title because, like I said, LeaseStar can track the success of each of your ads, and we're not able to do that if you're changing the title and it doesn't match what's in LeaseStar. So don't make any changes there. For some reason, for the square footage, they do not get rid of this 0, so you have to go in and delete it before you drag the square footage over. For the rent, whenever you are posting to Craigslist, post with a specific apartment in mind. It chooses one for you, and that's the rent that you see here. If you don't want to advertise that one or you have a different one that you're thinking of, go ahead and type that rent in. So maybe the one that I want to advertise is actually $735, and it's available on February 8th. Make sure that the rent and the availability date match an actual apartment that you have available, so if somebody calls you, you know they're calling about that apartment. The rest of this is just a drop-down menu. Let me do that really quickly. Laundry, they include the washer and dryer. They have off-street parking. Any of these that apply, feel free to check them. It is a private bath, and you do have a private room. They do allow cats, they do allow dogs. Open house dates, we don't use those because that information is included in the ad, so just leave those blank. And then the last section, you always want to make sure that you're choosing to show it on the map, and then you can just drag and drop this information over there. I will say the cross street is not included. If you want to type that in, you're more than welcome to, or you can just leave it blank. Do not check that it's okay for other parties to contact you. You do not want the kind of spam that you'll get if you choose that option. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Craigslist uses a GPS system to decide where your office is located. As we all know, sometimes GPS is not always accurate, so if you do need to move it, remember to move it every single time. Craigslist does not remember that you've moved this pin. So you do have to make sure that you're doing this with every single ad that you post. Do not skip this step because then you could run into the situation that Broadmoor Ridge does. This, where they put the pin, is actually a different apartment community. We don't want to advertise for that community, so I'm going to just click on it, drag it over to this section, and drop it where the leasing office is. If you have a leasing office, that's where you want your pin to be. Don't move it around to where the apartment is or to an intersection that's closer, you think is easier to find. We want this to be right where a prospect can come to get more information. Once you're happy with that map, you can go ahead and click continue. So once you click continue, it's going to bring you to this page, which is going to be your photo uploader page. The mission off standards for photos on Craigslist is going to be that we want to have 3 to 5 photos included in each ad. No more than 5, no less than 3. The reason for that is we want people to get, kind of a taste of what your property looks like, but we don't want to give them everything. So you don't want to put every single photo that you have available on Craigslist, because we still want them to have that drive and that need to go to your website or to email you for more information, including more photos of your community. We don't want to do less than 3 because we do want to make sure that they can get an idea of what your property is like and decide if they're really interested. This is one thing that's going to help you get qualified traffic on Craigslist. It sounds really simple, but a lot of times what people are looking at are the pictures. And so if somebody doesn't really know what your community is like or what it looks like, they don't know if they're really interested in it. So giving them a good idea of the property by including a few photos for them to click through is going to let them know if they're actually interested, and that's going to reduce the number of unqualified calls you're going to get from Craigslist. Within those 3 to 5 photos, a good rule of thumb for you is going to be to include at least 1 interior photo, 1 exterior photo, and 1 amenity photo. That's going to make sure, again, that your prospect is going to get a good idea of your community as a whole, as opposed to just seeing what the interiors look like. And it also gives you the opportunity to advertise all facets of your community. So in the body of most of your Craigslist ads, they're going to include information on interior amenities, community amenities. It's going to talk about what you have. So having those photos coincide what you're advertising, it's going to make your ad look, more put together, more professional, and hopefully get you a little bit more traffic. You do have the leeway to play around with uploading up to 5. So once you've uploaded that interior, exterior, and amenity, if you want to do 2 more amenity photos, or you want to do a layout and another interior photo, that's up to you. You have up to 5 to play around with. A few things that you're not going to want to upload are going to be any graphics that you have, unless they come from Mission Control. So with all of our campaigns on Mission Control, they include a document that can be turned into a JPEG to include on all of your Craigslist ads. Those are acceptable graphics. We don't want you putting the Fair Housing logo on there. That's just a red flag to Craigslist that you're a business. You don't need to upload your logo for the same reason. We also don't want you uploading anything that you've downloaded on the internet. I've seen a lot of ads that include like some sort of graphic that says sale on it, or people like to upload pictures of cats and dogs to show that you're pet friendly. We don't want to do any of that. The only photos that we want included are going to be the professional photos that you have on file, and the only graphics that are approved to be included are the ones that you're going to get from Mission Control, your floor plans, or something that the marketing department sends you specifically. If you have any questions about what's okay to use, or you have something that you're not sure about, just contact the marketing department, put in that help desk ticket, and we would be more than happy to help you out. So now that I've discussed all of it, let's go ahead and actually get to adding the photos. So for Broadmoor Ridge, again, we want to do 1 interior, 1 exterior, and 1 amenity photo. I'm going to start with the amenities. I like Broadmoor Ridge's pool, so I'm going to upload this photo. Once you click open, you'll get this little message here saying that it's loading. It's got the uploader bar so you can see where it's at. Once it's done, it pops down here and gives you a thumbnail. The first photo that you add is going to be the featured image. So when we went through and we were looking at the thumbnail and gallery view from the prospect's perspective on Craigslist, this is the photo that they're going to be looking at. So keep a mental note of what photos you're using first, and try not to repeat yourself too often or too close together, just because, it's going to wind up looking like the same ad. If you have questions about that, or you don't really remember, if you have 1 or 2 that use the same photo first, it's not going to be a big deal. If you do it consistently, that's a red flag with Craigslist, and you could see some of your ads starting to get flagged. So just kind of make a mental note of it. A good way to make sure that you're varying it up is to just kind of switch what sort of photo you upload first. So this time I'm uploading an amenity photo first. So next time I'll add an interior photo first. And the next time after that I'll do an exterior or a layout, and so on, just so that way I know that I'm not putting the same photo on Craigslist over and over and over again. So like I said, we want to do 3 to 5, so I'm going to add 2 more. It's a good idea, if you can, to create a folder somewhere that just houses all of your professional pictures together, just so that you have one place that you can go to find all of the photos that you're going to use on Craigslist and LeaseStar. For Broadmoor Ridge, we actually broke it up amenity, interior, exterior. You don't have to do that. Sometimes it's helpful if you have a ton of photos. If you only have a few, then you might be better off just having one folder. So let's add an exterior photo. And I like this, let me scroll up, this one of their new paint. Go ahead and upload that. And then the last image that I'm going to add, I'm just going to do 3 for time's sake, is going to be an interior photo. And for Broadmoor, let's see, I like this one of the kitchen. So there you have it. I have 3 photos that are going to be uploaded. I've got my pool, so I have an amenity, I have the exterior, and I have the interior. So once you're happy with the photos that you have uploaded, you're going to go ahead and click Done with Images, and that's going to get you to a preview of your ad. This is another step that tends to get skipped over. People don't really take this part of it seriously. It is critical that you look through your ad and make sure that everything is showing up as it's supposed to. The pin is where you dropped it. The photos are the ones that you uploaded, and they all look good. This box here that Craigslist has that these photos are falling into, it stretches any photo to fit into this box. So it's going to go, either side to side or top to bottom, whatever comes first. If your photo is not a large one, if the resolution is really low and you try to upload it to Craigslist, it will stretch that photo out and it will become so pixelated you can't even tell what it is. So it's really, really important that you take the time to go through this ad and make sure that those photos aren't super pixelated. If you see that they are pixelated, they're fuzzy and you can't really tell what they are, or they just don't really look good, do not upload those photos. Go back to the photos portion of this, and at the top of the page you can go back to the text, the map, or the images, and you can go back here, delete the ones that are pixelated, and upload different ones. If you have any questions about whether or not the resolution is high enough, put in a help desk ticket, and one of us will get in contact with you, and we'll go over all of that information specific to the photos that you have. If you do have low-res photos, maybe we can help you find some higher-res photos. Maybe there's something that we can do with those photos to make them work. But just contact the marketing department through the help desk, and we will go over all of that with you. As you scroll down, you'll see all of the information that was included in your posting assistant here. You see how that HTML breaks this up. If you mess with the body of the paragraph, or if something got messed up when you were dragging and dropping, and you see that the HTML is broken, in other words, it shows up in that giant paragraph with all of those, abbreviations and symbols that don't really mean anything, you're going to need to go back to the edit text, delete everything in the body of the paragraph, and re-copy and paste the posting description. Once you've gone through all of this, you're satisfied, everything looks good, it looks exactly how you wanted it to, you can go at the top or bottom of the page, and there's a big button that says Publish. Once you click Publish, that starts the process of having Craigslist put it online, and it's going to go one of 2 ways. You're going to click Publish, and you're either going to get a screen that says, "Thank you so much for using Craigslist." You will receive an email confirmation shortly. That's great. You are done with Craigslist. You've done everything that you needed to. The other possibility is that they might have you go through a verification process. In that case, the screen that you'll see after you click Publish is going to say, further action required. You will receive an email from Craigslist asking for, and then whatever they need from you. Generally, they're going to do an email confirmation with a link that you need to click on. They might ask for a phone verification, in which case they would give you a call and give you a 5-digit code for you to put into the next page that they have you navigate to. If you are running into this issue, or something's not right, give us a call. We can help you out to an extent with that. Generally, they're going to have you verify your account right after you've created it, or right after something suspicious happens. So if you have a bunch of ads that get flagged, they might have you verify your account after that. if you go through and delete everything and don't use it for a while and then start using it again, they might have you verify after that. Or they just might randomly have you verify your account. But Craigslist, they kind of do things arbitrarily. So just keep an eye out for those verification emails. Once you've gone through and you've done all the verification that you need, Craigslist will go through the process again of getting that online. It can take them up to 20 minutes. So don't be alarmed if you don't see your ad right away on Craigslist. Give it about 20 minutes and then check to see if it's online, and you should be able to find it right away. As I mentioned before, Craigslist tracks your IP address. They know exactly which computer posts from each account, so I am not actually going to publish this one because I don't want to mess some religious stuff up. But once you get that message, or once you've gone through the verification process, you can go ahead and shut down the screen on the right. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And then on the left-hand side, my Marketing Center, this one we have one last step we need to go through, and it's down here at the very bottom. It says, have you completed your posting process? After you have gone through the verification process and gotten your confirmation, or if you get your confirmation right after you click Publish, you can go ahead and click Yes, you have completed the posting process. This is a really simple step, but if it is skipped, you will definitely know about it, because the only ads that you are going to get absolute credit for on Craigslist are going to be the ads that you click Yes to. If you do not click Yes and you just close this page out, you're not going to get credit for that ad. So when I send out my weekly report as far as the number of ads that were posted that week, your numbers aren't going to be correct, even though you have the ads showing in Craigslist. If you did not verify them in LeaseStar, I have no way of knowing about them. We have a lot of properties within our company, and unfortunately we don't have enough people to be constantly logging into everyone's Craigslist account and counting the number of ads from each day. So we really rely on you guys to make sure that you are verifying when your ads are going live. So always, always, always remember to click Yes. The other thing is, don't click Yes and then close this window. Once you click Yes, LeaseStar will register that it needs to start tracking that ad because you've confirmed it, and it will let you know that it has done that by having this page just disappear. So if you click the X before the Yes is registered, it's almost like you didn't click it at all. LeaseStar isn't going to recognize that you confirmed the ad on Craigslist, and you're going to have the number of ads that you post in LeaseStar is not going to match what you posted in Craigslist. So just make sure that once you click Yes, you let this page disappear on its own. You don't close it for it, or you don't navigate away to a different website. Again, just make sure that that click goes through and registers. Again, I didn't post, so I am going to use the X. Exactly what I just told you not to. But once that's done, you'll come back to this page. Those pages will be gone, and you're done. You have successfully posted to Craigslist. You have made sure that LeaseStar has registered that you have posted to Craigslist, and you have successfully advertised from LeaseStar. So that is everything that I wanted to go through with you guys today. I know that this has been a lot of information all at once, and I know that a lot of times questions come up as you use the product. So while you're using this and while you're going through this, if you have any questions or something's not making sense, or you can't remember what I said here in this training, please feel free to reach out to the marketing department, put in a help desk ticket, and we would be more than happy to, either send you the information that you're looking for, or we'll hop on the phone with you and kind of walk through the process to make sure that you totally understand how to use LeaseStar effectively.